Another common piece of HTML and probably one of the more used functionality, we saw that a little bit with buttons here, and that's going to be using forms. So forms are literally everywhere on the internet. And what we're going to do here, we're just going to create a simple form here. So I'm going to open it up as a div. I'm going to do an ID of my form. And then within here, I'm going to open up form and close form. So just like all these other elements in HTML, open and close forms, and that gives us the ability to add in form. And now we're just going to do a typical contact form. So maybe I can just change this to contact form, or if you want someone to be able to subscribe to you and that sort of thing. So one of the common ways is maybe you're asking for the person's name and you've got an input. So inputs, there's different types of inputs, and the one that we're looking at, so we've got an option to select button, and that'll create a button. And with HTML5, so we've got all these options with color, we've got date, we've got email, and then this will send it only, this will require it to be within an email format, and this will work within HTML5. There's also image, and the one that we're looking for this time is called text. So this is your typical text field, and we're just going to give it a size. So there's a bunch of different attributes here you can add in to your text, and then we're just going to close off this input. So this is again one of those HTML elements that, similar to image, where it's kind of self-closing one. So we've got this, we've got the closing tag, we've got our opening, and we've got our closing. And this in the middle here, these attributes, these just specify what's happening within it. So we might need a second one here as email, and again we're going to do input and type, and this time we're going to select email. And so this is new with HTML5, and it's going to check to make sure that the format is in email. So a lot of times we're adding this with JavaScript, this validation as well, just to make sure that whatever the user is inputting within this field makes sense with what we're asking for. And again, it's this same closing one. So within this input type, we actually have a bunch of options as well that we can do. So we can do a size. So this is going to tell us the size of it. And we've got a bunch of other styling options. So we've got our border here. We've also got a minimum, maximum length as well. And this is where these on blurs and on change and on focus come into play, because once those are activated, that's going to activate only on these form elements. And then of course, when you are creating a form, you need to have that ID and you need to have that name, because that name is going to be really important. That's going to allow you to distinguish what you're expecting within this. So I'm going to just put username, and I'm going to do email equals user email. And then this is going to help you to pick up what's been input on this form on the back end as well. So I'm going to just go back out and I'm going to refresh it. And we can see here that so this is the beginning of our form. There's a way to group different form elements together, and that's going to be the field set. So again, this comes down to styling of your forms. So we're just going to quickly show you what field set is going to do. And this is going to give you the ability to kind of break down and group off different parts of the form. So now we're just going to do you can also do a preset value. So if I wanted this value to always start out with my name, and there's also placeholder which is also really useful. And again, some of this might not work in older browsers, but enter your name. Actually, value and placeholder isn't actually going to work well together, but we're just going to take that value out of there so that we just have placeholder. And then, because if we actually do have a preset value, we're not actually going to see the placeholder, so that's why I took that out. So type equals, so this time we're going to need a button, or actually we could just do type equals submit, because we always do need to have a way to submit the form. So sometimes you can use JavaScript as well for that, for the submitting part of it. And this is where we're going to need to have a value, because if we just close this off, and if we go back out here, we see that we do get that submit button. And by default, it's going to write submit, but I can update this with value and do something like click here, which is probably not better than submit, because you do want the user to be able to know that this is a submit button, but you can customize the text there. And now just going back to the field set, you can see here that the field set is actually dividing up this form, and it's giving you the ability to kind of really isolate out different parts of the form and as you're building it out. So again, breaking it up and making it more readable and user-friendly. And this again will help you when you are doing styling, because you can pick out all these different pieces of the form and style them accordingly to how you want them to look. So again, with the form, one of the more important parts of the form is going to be what you're putting in as the values of the form. So we've got what's called an action. So this is where it's actually going to be submitting the content to. So I'm just going to submit it to index2.html for now. Of course, this really won't make sense, because there's no point to submit it to another HTML page, because this content isn't going to be readable. So most of the time you would be submitting to server-end coding, where it would pick up the information that was input on these fields. There's also different, so there's also targets you can do. There's also what's called the method. So this is important to distinguish the different methods that are available. So we've got delete, get, post, and put. So by default, I believe it's get, and get isn't going to be as secure as, and we're just going to show you what happens with get. So again, we've changed where we're submitting it, and we see that we're actually getting this username equals type thing. And here again, it's so this is that HTML5. So since we set this field as an email, it has to be formatted as an email before the submit actually goes through. So that's another thing that's available in HTML5. And so there was a mistake here. That's why we're not seeing the user email, because I had called it email. So always refer to it by name. And I go back out here to the form, and I refresh this. You can see that whatever content it is that I'm putting in here, this is what's actually being output here. Sorry, again, we have to change it to an email. And you can see here it's visible within the URL of the string. This is separated by a question mark, username equals, user email equals. So this is good for testing, because you can see what data you're submitting. But it's not going to be secure, and if you are passing sensitive information, especially a name and an email, you probably want to use post instead. So here is going to be the same content submitted, but now it's going to be on post, and you see that it doesn't pass this information along. You don't see it within the URL, so it's passed within the headers of the page itself, and this is readable by the server end of the code. Again, with forms, there's quite a bit you can do. So this is a fairly basic form, and then you could build out your forms. Sometimes they do get very complex, and then you have to do the styling of the form. So you also have the ability to do labels as well. So sometimes maybe this isn't the best way to do it, and you could just do a label. could do it like this, where you do a label for a username and then just put the content you want for the label. And when we refresh it, there's really not going to be much change because this is just the standard way that the labels are applied. But again, when it comes to styling, it's going to give you more flexibility. The better structured your HTML is, the more usable it's going to be within CSS. So again, I'm just going to apply that source formatting, and I'm going to remove that label for now, and again apply that source formatting. So this is the way to set up your basic web page. So this would be a good starting point for navigation. You've got your navigation up here. You've got your page information, so the page heading text. So this is always really important to include it in this kind of structure. You've got some more information about this, maybe this particular image, and about this particular course. Then we've got a call to actions. We've got a name and an email. So maybe this could be something like sign up for our list. So here we're just going to sign up and update that so that it makes a little bit more sense when we're looking at it. And then down here we can list out all the different lessons, and if the user wants to find out more about it, we could maybe link out to some additional content that could show up, and additionally so on, just using JavaScript when the user clicks find out more. And yeah, and then this way we could build out how our courses and our web pages are going to look.